Imagine a football icon, once the heartbeat of Manchester United's midfield, making a life-altering choice not on the pitch but at home, all for the sake of his young son. This isn't just a story of sacrifice, it's a raw look at family, autism, and the tough decisions that come with parenting a child with special needs. Paul Scholes, the legendary midfielder, has opened up about why he hung up his punditry boots, and it's enough to tug at your heartstrings. But here's where it gets controversial: is prioritizing a child's routine worth sacrificing a high-profile career? Let's dive in and explore this deeply personal revelation. In a candid interview, Scholes revealed that his world now revolves around Aiden, his 20-year-old son who has nonverbal autism. For those new to this, autism is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects how people perceive the world and interact with others. It can mean challenges with communication, social cues, and sticking to familiar patterns. Scholes, who has 3 children, Aaron, Alicia, and Aiden, made the heartbreaking decision to step back from his regular role as a pundit on TNT Sports after Manchester United's Europa League run last season. Why? Because those Thursday night appearances left Aiden distressed and agitated, leading to behaviors like biting and scratching as his routine was disrupted. "Everything I'm going to do now just works around him," Scholes explained on the Stick to Football podcast, where he's taken over from Jamie Carragher and now appears more regularly. He described how Aiden's life follows a strict daily schedule, and all of Scholes' commitments, including his studio work, are now tailored to fit around it. "Last season, those Europa League nights on Thursdays were when I usually cared for him, so he'd get all worked up, biting and scratching. He picks up on the pattern breaking immediately," Scholes shared. "I did that for years, always thinking I need to change this someday. When the podcast opportunity came up, I figured it would work better, not just for me, but for Aiden." And this is the part most people miss: Scholes isn't just cutting back on work, he's embracing a new balance that lets him spend more quality time with his son. It's a shift that has brought peace to their household, showing how flexible arrangements can make a world of difference for families dealing with autism. For beginners, think of it like this: imagine if your child's favorite bedtime story or morning walk was suddenly off schedule. For someone with autism, such disruptions can feel overwhelming, leading to meltdowns as a way to express distress. But here's where it gets really emotional: Scholes has spoken publicly before about the challenges of raising Aiden. In a 2021 BBC documentary hosted by Paddy McGuinness, who also has 3 autistic children, Scholes admitted that the early years after diagnosis were filled with hope that Aiden would catch up, that he'd start talking and become neurotypical, meaning his brain would function more like the majority of people. "For the first few years after being diagnosed, you tell yourself he's just delayed, eventually he'll speak," Scholes told McGuinness. "But by 12, 13, 14, now he's 16, you realize it's not going to happen. He's never going to be typical, but he's wonderful, and you have to accept it." Scholes even confessed to a fear he's never voiced before, looking at Aiden and wondering if he'd need to go into care someday. "I don't know how you handle that," he said. The diagnosis hit hard, too. Right before a match against Derby, Scholes played terribly, his mind elsewhere, consumed by worry and research into autism. He was even dropped by Sir Alex Ferguson at the time, without explaining why, as he tried to keep it private. "I didn't get a break from it, even on the pitch. It was brutal back then," he recalled. "They didn't diagnose him until he was 2.5, but you sensed something's off early. I'd never heard of autism before. I told the team a few weeks later because it was tough to hide." Even today, Scholes doesn't seek sympathy, his focus is on Aiden's future. "The big worry now is, as I get older, what happens when I'm not here? That's what's always on my mind," he shared. And to add some context, Scholes also co-hosts a podcast called The Good, The Bad and the Football with McGuinness and former teammate Nicky Butt, showing he's not disappearing from football entirely, just reshaping his involvement. Here's the controversial twist: some might argue that Scholes, with his fame and resources, could afford childcare or other support to keep his punditry gig intact. Is it fair to expect parents to sacrifice careers for routines, or should society do more to accommodate families like his? What about the broader debate on autism awareness? Are we doing enough to support nonverbal individuals and their parents? And this is the part that invites your opinion. Do you think Scholes' choice sets a powerful example of family over fame, or is there room for a middle ground? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree, disagree, or have your own story to tell?